Good morning, everybody. Today is our day 3 lesson for on lesson 20 with comparing links. So in your packet that you picked up from school, these are the copy pages, and we're on page 186 and 187. So today it says read the problem, then you're going to explore ways to compare links, a lot like we did yesterday. How much shorter in inches is the eraser than the crayon? Well, I'm going to underline inches because I want to make sure I get the right unit of measure. So the first thing I have to do is I need to measure each object to know their length, and then I can find their difference. So the crayon, you see that they start at the 0, and it stops here at 5 inches, okay? The eraser, same thing. They start at the 0, and it goes to 2 inches. So we have 2 inches for the eraser. It says to line up one end of the eraser and the crayon, then use a ruler to measure the difference. Yesterday, we just subtracted to find the difference. Today, they're actually lining them up as though you're going to measure them at the first end, the 0 end. But then you see they take their ruler and start at the end of the eraser and measure to the end of the crayon. Why? Because you have this much difference between the two. So they're measuring the difference. They're actually measuring the difference instead of doing a subtraction problem. So between the end of the eraser and the end of the crayon, you actually have a 3-inch difference. You have to make sure that you have your objects lined up here at the end, though. Okay, so let's look at the next page on page 187 and answer some questions. It says, look at the first measure. Explain how to find how much shorter the eraser than the crayon is. So it says, explain how to find it. Well, we could subtract the length of the eraser from the length of the crayon is one thing that we could do. Okay? That's how we did it yesterday. We can subtract the length of the eraser from the length of the crayon. Now remember, we're going to put that eraser first because when we're talking, because we're taking the length from the shortest from the length of the longest. But if we wrote it out, then you would write it out with the crayon first, because the crayon was 5 inches minus the eraser, which is 3 inches. So you have to be careful with your language when you're writing it compared to when you're doing just number sentence. So how much shorter is the eraser than the crayon? The eraser is 3 inches shorter. And what is measured in the second measure it? If you look back, what they're saying is right here, this second one, what did they measure? They actually didn't measure the two objects. They measured the difference between the two objects. So let's write that down. What is measured? The difference between the length of the crayon and the length of the eraser. So you got to make sure, again, vocabulary, they're measuring the difference between the two. So let's go to the number 11 question. Kelly says that you cannot always use the method shown in the second measure. Do you agree? Why or why not? So what Kelly's saying is you can't always measure the difference between the two. Do you agree or do you not agree? Okay, so I agree because it only works if the two objects can be lined up. And I'm going to write that in just a moment, but I'm getting ready to run out of time. And instead of doing another video, you're going to do your pages 209 and 210 in your workbook. And then answer this last question. All right, guys, have a great day.